Salute, squad. Welcome back to another episode of Fly High Productions with Mr. Follow Up. Hey, so check this out. Who else got lost in the sauce? Uh, Trying to follow this Young Dolph trial. I know y'all feel like y'all just got dropped off, or you wondering, is it over? It ain't over with yet. It's actually just starting. And tonight, what we gonna do, man? We gonna backtrack a little bit. We gonna jump back in here and see what's really going on, man. Cause I know they ain't make us wait no what 2.5 years for this trial that didn't even go on for 2 weeks. And although it was a speedy trial, I guess we could say that justice was served, considering Justin Johnson getting life, right? But if y'all remember, it was other suspects that was involved in this. Uh, that never seen the stand. They never even seen the courtroom outside of well, not no televised. They didn't get in there with Justin Johnson. Let's just put it like that. It didn't go down as we expected, uh, considering Cornelius Smith is already locked up. Hernandez Govan is out on bail, which his court date, I believe they said, is in November, along with Justin Johnson's brother. I forget his name, DeMarcus. Don't quote me. Don't quote me. And since I said that, all this is for entertainment purposes only. We gonna give it a hot second, man, and see if some more people gonna hop in here with us before I get started. I don't plan on being here too long, but long enough. So might want to get all get your popcorn and all that good shit. Like I say, we gonna give it a hot second. See if anybody else hop in here with us. Hold on, squad. Be right back with you. Okay, it seems like everything is a go. We gonna start right here with last court date.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict? You have full person. If you would stand and read your verdict, please.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder as charged in count 1 of the indictment. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder as charged in count 2 of the indictment. And we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of convicted felon in possession of a firearm as charged in count 3 of the indictment.
Thank you. Juror number 1, is that your verdict? Juror number 34, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 35, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 11, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 14, is that your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Juror number 17, is that your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Juror number 27, is that your verdict?
It is, Your Honor.
Juror number 33, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 25, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 44, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 23, is that your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Juror number 28, is that your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you again for your time and attention to this matter this week. Our system of self-government would not work without your service and sacrifice that you've made. Thanks again for your time and attention. You are excused.
Jurors excused.
Mr. Johnson, the jury having found you guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and convicted felon in possession of a firearm. As a 13th juror, I affirm this verdict. As to the first-degree murder, I sentence you to life in prison. I will set punishment as to the conspiracy and the convicted felon in possession of a firearm after a sentencing hearing. The date for that hearing will be
Yeah, y'all heard it right. Life in prison.
November 1st?
Yes, Your Honor.
November 1st. There's nothing else to take up?
We will prepare the judgment sheet and pass that forward, Judge.
Thank you. And the pre-sentence report. The order for the pre-sentence report.
Sir, once we get that, we'll give this to you.
Thank you. You may adjourn court.
All rise. This honorable court stands adjourned to Monday morning at 9 a.m.
All right, so that was the verdict on Justin Johnson. Now, check this out. Excuse me, squad. Now they went back and deliberated. I think it was a little over 4 hours. And as y'all just heard, everybody agreed. Guilty as charged. Now, did y'all catch that date, November the 1st, for sentencing? And I also believe that's, if I'm not mistaken, Hernandez Govan is expected back in the courtroom on the 1st. Now, what I was about to say, now, technically, Dolph came to his demise for $800. $800. 500 her, 300 die. Now, Cornelius Smith got up in there and sat on the stand, and he told us, he says, well, he actually didn't want to tell us. He was kind of evasive about his answer. But his lawyer got paid. His lawyer got paid $50,000. That sounds like half of that 100 that was put. initially put on Dolph head, right? So, and I'm really feeling like that's what it was, because the way he was trying not to answer that in the courtroom. Now we don't go back a little bit, right? Because I just want to show y'all why the trial didn't go no way that I thought it was gonna go. And it wasn't me just feeling like it should have went a certain type of way. It was actually the media that was putting out all this false information. Well, I can't say it was false, but if they just sentenced Justin Johnson to life for the unaliving of Young Dolph, then we got Cornelius Smith in there for the unalive. Well, he was already locked up on a previous charge, though. So I guess they gonna tack this on to what he already had running concurrent. And I don't know. I gotta go back and do my homework and see. I don't think. Well, I know they didn't say how they was gonna do that, but like I say, if they already got them boys, then who is this, boys and girls? This this came in 2 years ago. They already was talking about persons of interest and putting warrants out on this person and putting warrants out on that person. One of the people that they mentioned was Shondell Barnett, right? Now I seen a video 2 years ago. This WREG News Channel 3 down in Memphis. They put this information out there on Shondell Barnett. This ain't Fly High Productions, right? They said it was a warrant issue for the young man's arrest. Matter of fact, we'll go there first, because I think the news can better describe what I'm trying to say. Let's see here. And they put them out as a person of interest and put a one out on them, right? Flash this man face all up on the news. But y'all see how they hid the face of the convicted people already. We know Cornelius Smith was guilty of something, right? Well, nah, we don't know that. He could have been in there waiting for his court date. Uh, but I think I do recall him saying that he was in there for a previous charge, though. And they hid his face. Why do they feel like it's cool just to throw uh, a person of interest? He's just a person of interest. And I know they say, that he won't come in, we can't find him, so that's normally their next tactic. Throw your face all up in the media, right? So somebody get back and tell you, or really what they want to happen is, if somebody is harboring you, to start pushing you on out. Like, we can't help you. Push them back out in the streets. That way they can run up on them. But like I say, I'm gonna let the news explain this a little better. Because I'm
Man once named as a person of interest in Young Dolph's murder has now also been killed. Family members confirmed Joshua Taylor was found shot and killed in Orange Mound yesterday afternoon, leaving that community on edge as they worry who might be next. WREG's chief investigator Jessica Gertler uncovered some new details about Taylor and his possible connection to that Young Dolph case. What do you know, Jess?
Well, Greg, this goes back to February 2022. Joshua Taylor was named as a person of interest in Young Dolph's death, but he was never charged. Tonight, police are remaining tight-lipped about this latest incident. Loved ones shared these photos of Joshua Taylor, a father of two, the latest victim of gun violence in Memphis. They were too upset to do an interview, but Tellis Taylor, also known as CEO Teasy, was found shot to death in Orange Mound Wednesday at Spotswood and Bunton. Those who live nearby tell us Taylor was actually shot the night before, discovered lifeless in a car hours later. MPD says the investigation is ongoing, refusing to answer any questions about the case or whether it has any link to Memphis rapper Young Dolph. In November 2021, Dolph was killed outside a South Memphis cookie store. 3 months later, MPD called Taylor and another man persons of interest. Taylor was reportedly questioned but never charged. Those close to the case tell us Taylor is part of a group, the same group linked to the suspects charged in connection with Dolph's murder.
It's sad, it's very sad, it's awful.
Taylor's death has left the community on edge, as many fear the violence isn't over, that
Now check this out, squad. We all know how we know how the streets gonna respond to this report, right? But you can almost say that the news. Well, I'm gonna say that for this next segment, I want to show y'all. But the way they just throwing these guys up on this TV and calling them persons of interest, so that make the streets think, hey, well they must know something. And a lot of times, they want to get street justice out here. So they want to get to him before the police get to him, right? This man ain't never had a day in court, but they gonna hold court on you on the streets. That's just the game. Ain't nothing I made up. That ain't nothing new. But nevertheless, that could have a lot to do with the unaliving of this guy, CEO Teasy here. I'm not saying that that's the case, but again, we all know how they go. I'm gonna keep it moving, though.
retaliation will only continue. Last week, DeMarcus Johnson pleaded guilty to 3 counts of accessory after the fact in Dolph's murder. Johnson was accused of helping the alleged shooters, one of them being his half-brother, get away.
He has to tell the truth. That's what this was guilty plea is hinged on. He has to tell the truth.
DeMarcus Johnson is out on bond. He'll be sentenced in August. We've asked the DA's office if he'll get any protection, but haven't heard back. And going back to Taylor's killing that happened yesterday, loved ones.
There's some of the things that caught my interest down there when it's, well, the unaliving of Dolph is what caught my interest. But so that took me, down in Memphis. And the minute I stepped foot, not literally, but, the YouTube streets, the minute I stepped foot down there, bodies was dropping all over. And I remember this one. CEO Teasy guy. Rest in peace. Condolences to him, his family, and friends. But then they came right behind it and did it again. Well, they doing it again at this moment, right? Because we wondering what happened, what's going on in that trial, right? Okay, here it is. We've been wondering what's going on in the trial. What's next? All right, we Justin Johnson got life. They got 2 more people that conspired in on this. But now they screaming again about this Shondell Barnett guy. Which I remember this the one that I was initially speaking on for real. Because they issued a warrant out on him 2 years ago. Now again, they got a warrant out for Shondell Barnett. Check it out.
Questions surrounding the whereabouts of Shondell Barnett, a suspect connected in the murder of popular rap artist Young Dolph, who, as you'll remember, surrounding the whereabouts of Shondell Barnett, a suspect connected in the murder of popular rap artist Young Dolph, who, as you'll remember, was shot dead in November on Airways Boulevard. Barnett was arrested in Indiana along with the accused triggerman, Justin Johnson, and charged with accessory after the fact to first-degree murder. WREG's Alex Coleman reports Barnett was supposed to have been extradited back to Memphis, but his name isn't showing up in the court system, and we found out why.
January 11th in Brazil, Indiana, authorities captured Justin Johnson, wanted for the murder of Young Dolph, along with Shondell Barnett. The following day, at a multi-agency press conference, Barnett's arrest in connection to Johnson was announced.
Shondell Barnett is a person who we believe was providing assistance to Justin since we've been looking for him. And he now faces charges of accessory after the fact to first-degree murder.
Justin Johnson was extradited back to Memphis to face charges, while Shondell Barnett was booked in the Clay County, Indiana jail on an outstanding warrant from Shelby County. According to Clay County Sheriff Paul Hardin, Shelby County was contacted and told Clay County was holding Barnett on Shelby County's warrant.
And we were contacted on January 21st, and they told us that they no longer were wanting to come up and pick up Mr. Barnett, and that we were to release him at that time.
When asked if he thought it was strange given Barnett's connection to Justin Johnson, the sheriff responded,
I'm not sure what the warrant was for out of Shelby County, Tennessee. All I knew was that there was a warrant for his.
Shout out to Germany. Salute to you. Welcome to Fly Productions.
His arrest, whether he was involved in the altercation in Tennessee or was just a passenger in the vehicle with the other individual, I don't know.
Sheriff Hardin says he has no idea where Shondell Barnett went after being released. Shelby County doesn't know either and has issued a warrant for Barnett's arrest, adding on attempted first degree and theft of property between $10,000 and $60,000. Alex Coleman, WREG-TV, News Channel 3.
Cornelius Smith has also been charged in Young Dolph's murder. Barnett could be in Memphis, they say, and if you know his whereabouts, you're urged to call Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH.
Okay, they give me a better understanding now, because I for the life of me, I didn't understand how they was looking for another suspect. He co-spied. Okay. In other words, he was in on the plan and he knew about it. Basically, is I guess that's what they saying. So now again, where I wanted to go, we start. Let's see. Now you got the viewer discretion is advised. I forget why I had this up there. No, I think one I was gonna try to make is I was just gonna show y'all that it was only two dudes that on the screen. I mean on the scene.
Very gratified that justice has been done in this case, and we will continue to make sure that all of those who are responsible for Young Dolph's death receive the punishment they deserve. And I want to give a hearty congratulations to the trial team, not only Paul Hagman and Iris Williams, but everybody involved who really worked very hard on this case and got a great result and did a great job. So congratulations to them, and I'd sure like to have them speak to you as well.
I think it's been a long, hard week for everybody. It's been a long, hard week for Dolph's family too. They're back behind us. It's been a process getting here, a couple of years now, and
Yeah, I hear them out there.
great result this week. A lot of hard work went into it. A lot of love from their family went into it.
Obviously, wasn't important. Can you speak on that?
I mean, you saw the proof at the trial, and obviously we heard other names about people's involvement. There's two defendants, there's Mr. Smith and Mr. Govan, whose cases are not disposed of yet. We have to proceed one at a time. Mr. Johnson first, and that business finishes today, and we'll move on to the other defendants.
And when you heard the defense in their closing argument basically point out that DNA on that car, how did you all attack that? Because obviously it was three people's DNAs that was found on that car, but Justin Johnson's wasn't.
Yeah, so you got the facts you got, you got the evidence you got. We heard testimony that the car had been wiped down and cleaned, and we know it was moved and everything else, and we were able to explain to the jury why those three individuals' fingerprints were in that car. And so the jury heard all the proof and they understood it, and I think we painted a real clear picture of both before, during, and after the murder. The investigation did a fabulous job of highlighting sort of all three of those times and answering a lot of questions that a lot of murder cases you never get answered. We had a strong case, and it went good.
And I'd like to add also, I should also be complimenting the law enforcement investigative team. They did an excellent job in this case, and I don't want to leave them out. You don't always get fingerprint evidence. You don't always get DNA evidence in every case, and it is certainly possible to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt with any of that, and the proof in the pudding is what happened today.
Now, we haven't heard from the family.
Well, I mean, what I would say is that justice has been done, at least so far, and
Just in case you late to the party, this is last time. This was the last time that Young Dolph was seen before his unaliving.
our efforts will continue to make sure that everybody who's responsible for Young Dolph's death is held accountable. And you've seen us do that so far with two defendants, one by guilty plea and one by guilty verdict, and our work will continue. We'll take maybe one more question.
What's next?
Mr. Smith's case will be reset until November. You know, like I told the jury, like I told the court, there'll be a point where he goes to prison, but we'll have to wait.
So thank you all very much. And the family has said that they're available to talk to you, and so I certainly encourage you to do that. Thank you all very much.
On November 17, 2021, our lives changed forever. A son, a father, a brother, a friend, a businessman, a music artist, a philanthropist, and life partner are all among just some of the titles that my brother Adolph Robert Thornton Jr. held. Titles that have now left a missing piece in the lives of so many. I want to say thank you to the jury for their service and decision in this case to bring us one step closer to justice for our family, friends, supporters, and the community that has supported us during this time. Thank you to Judge Mitchell, Shelby County District Attorney's Office, including Paul Hangerman and his team, the MPD, U.S. Marshals, Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, and other investigators and staff that assisted us with this investigation and case, ensuring that those responsible for this crime and involved with this crime have and will be brought to justice for their actions. We realize this act of violence has impacted so many outside of our family and friends. Your outpouring of love and support throughout this process does not go unnoticed. We ask that instead of focusing on those who committed this crime, you focus on the man that Adolph Robert Thornton was. Regardless of the name that you may know him as, such as Adolph, Dolph, or Young Dolph, we ask you to remember the man who enjoyed being a father and spending time with his family. We ask that you remember the man who enjoyed giving opportunities to those who were often overlooked and counted out. We ask that you remember the man who enjoyed giving back to others and being an inspiration to those who come from less than ideal backgrounds, and knowing that they are seen and can change their outcomes and the lives of others by doing something positive. We will continue to heal and keep Adolph's legacy alive. We ask that the public and the media continue to keep our family in their prayers, as well as continue to respect our privacy during this time and the next steps of the judicial process as justice is served for all those involved for our loved ones. Thank you.
Yeah, and let me tell you, speaking with Steve Morroy, the Shelby County District Attorney, he said their case was very strong without his testimony. For the simple fact that, look, they had all of the evidence. They didn't need another voice on that stand. That voice right there, I really think the defense was pending on that voice of Hernandez Govan, because if you go back to that closing argument, they were hoping, it sounds as though they were hoping Hernandez Govan took the stand because there was no clear point to connect Hernandez Govan to.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
He even asked Steve Morroy about that connection between Hernandez Govan and Justin Johnson.
I mean, then y'all think that's squad? Hold up. Y'all didn't think that y'all would see Hernandez Govan, considering he was the mastermind? alleged mastermind, you would have thought you would have seen him. Well, nah, you would have thought we would have seen him on trial first. I mean, they did say that he was the guy that set all this up. But I thought it was over for a second. You know, they said they'd be back November the 1st, so we gonna see what happens then. But one of the label mates chimed in. Paper Route Woo, he chimed in and he had some interesting things to say as far as the unaliving of Young Dolph. I'm gonna let y'all take a listen to it.
The baby a nigga ass. That's all it is. Just don't play. You need to be playing with the right motherfucker. Yeah. It's all good. You just gotta know how to move out here.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, as we all know, today was the last day of, what I'm saying, the Dolph trial.
Yeah.
And everything, they came down with a verdict. You know what I'm saying? Guilty on all charges. Have you been keeping up with everything, you know what I'm saying, surrounding the trial?
Yeah, I've been watching that shit. I be wanting to.
It was the last day of, you know what I'm saying, the Dolph trial.
Yeah.
And everything, they came down with a verdict. You know what I'm saying? Guilty on all charges. Have you been keeping up with everything, you know what I'm saying, surrounding the trial?
Yeah, I've been watching that shit. I be wanting to watch that shit. Yeah, cause that shit be interesting. Trials and shit be interesting. So I just be wanting to just go up in there and just like watch the shit. Like I really want to go in there and watch the shit, but I don't be having time for this shit. All people opinions, so I catch somebody else trial. But I be wanting to watch this shit. Like this shit be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like this shit be kind of interesting. Like going like this shit be interesting. This shit like this trial was interesting, but it was short. But it was interesting as hell. Like detail. Like,
it was short as hell.
The trial was over.
Yeah, I see how they saying the trial was short. It was kind of short, but it was straight to the point. It wasn't really short. They presented their evidence. The defense didn't have no defense, and it is what it is. But they probably comparing it to this Young Thug trial. That's why they saying that, because this is the longest trial ever. But let's keep it moving.
Trial was over the first day.
First day, it would be real.
It was over the first day and the third day. It was over the first day for sure, but the third day once they came with the final records, that shit was kind of over with. And I don't was jail on no man. You feel me? Like I don't was jail on no man. Jail ain't where a nigga want to be, but when you make dumbass decisions and do sloppy ass work, it's it was real shit.
Alright, now let me ask you this question. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's just real. Me chopping it up. Man, when you heard the first day, when you heard Cornelius Smith say that, to be honest, it really
We ain't on no premium or nothing over here.
intended for Dolph. Like, that they was on the way.
But if you want to donate to the Cash App so we can do away with it, you're more than welcome.
to the turkey drive to where y'all was at, and they was just willing to catch anybody. Like, does that make you, I ain't gonna say feel like damn, my niggas just got caught sleeping type shit, but it's like what?
The bag was up. You heard him? For anybody. Anybody out the squad. But they got the big fish. The big flipper, man. Salute to the big flipper, man. R.I.P.
What does that do when you hear him say that shit? You know what I'm saying? On the stand.
That shit really bothered me. That shit really bothered me, bro. Like, I probably just chops on dick. It ain't really bothered me. Chops on dick. And yeah. Look, bro. Choppers on dick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all good. It's all good. They could have tried it, whatever did, they would have did, but
yeah, cause like I said, it really kind of, I believe that shit kind of fucked everybody's head up. You know what I'm saying? To hear him say that they was really on the way to the turkey drive. You know what I'm saying? And they just randomly seen him come through the light, and they just really just was like, well, fuck it. You know?
Going at anybody.
Yeah.
Thirsty.
They was just like, bruh.
They was thirsty. They was up early. They was on it. But shit, you know.
Now, let me ask you this. Did you, because I laughed when I heard this, and did you at least, or was you shocked when you heard the amount that was received, that $800?
Nah, look, check this out. See, y'all listen to this shit. Y'all was listening to the trial, right? They came and gave him $300 and $500, but his lawyers paid in full. His lawyers paid $50,000, so he ain't got no money. Like you feel what I'm saying? But what I don't know what it was. Like I don't know. Then I don't know. You just gotta watch the trial. It's so interesting. Like it's just interesting. Like it's just interesting. Nigga dumb as hell. Took that shit trial, man. Like he's supposed to just
yeah, I was just gonna say, was they dumb for taking this shit to trial?
Took whatever they, you know what I'm saying, they offered you, shouted, and just kept pushing you, feel me? If you wasn't gonna say nothing, why take the trial?
Yeah.
You ain't gonna say nothing, why take the trial? Folks had so much evidence, bro. Folks had so much evidence, bro, they ain't even used all the evidence. They had some shit they ain't even used. That, like, if it would've got to a point where this shit was, they had that motherfucker back. Them folks ain't used a lot of evidence. You just gotta pay attention to this shit, bro. That's on them though. It was sloppy as hell. How they did it. It was just too sloppy. So
now, it used to be some old pictures, you know what I'm saying, floating around. And those pictures showed, you know what I'm saying, Straight Drop in the background with, you know what I'm saying, some paper route niggas. Was he like around y'all?
I was at the club that day. I just wasn't in the fucking picture. Like we was all, everybody was click tight. Like long little Bula my man, love Bula to them. That's my dog. You feel me? Like, but just when he died, this shit, like all this shit kind of deteriorated. And shit, everybody kind of went their own way. Like, everybody kind of.
Now, this brother pretty much said basically what I was saying all the way up until that point. It was senseless. The whole nine was senseless. But check this out. Did you hear what he said, man? That's the sad part about this. They was all clicked up at one point. And, you know, in the YouTube streets, they say this Memphis business. Memphis business, you know, is out here now. I did my due diligence, and I chose not to even speak too much on the trial because it was a lot of hearsay that was going on, a lot of finger pointing. And the sad part about that is now we seen these people in there convicted. They didn't put the footage up there, red handed. They still trying to throw a cookie in this, if you know what I mean. It's sad, man. Like, it's a repeated cycle on our people. And we pretty much do it to ourselves. Now they constantly coming down on this shop. You would think as much as they talked about this shop in the past 2 years without no hardcore evidence that they could present, you know what I mean? I seen everything that they was trying to, and you know, if you sitting up and you smoking you one, you might let them influence you a little bit. Not me though. You know, I always got my own mind and my own views on everything, and that's another reason why I chose not to even speak on this, because the evidence wasn't even presented to you yet to speak on it. They had 2 pictures out there, and it looked like somebody that done Photoshop that one little footage that I was showing earlier when he drove up on the parking lot. It's actually, you know, the dudes rolled up behind him while he was in the shop and ran up and just shot through the window. But they had a still photo of that was floating around for the past 2 years. And off those still photos came a million stories on how it occurred. And I just want to say this, man. If anybody out there, if you come across this video, pipe down, man. Pipe down, because if you ain't got the hardcore evidence, you know, you might be taking another innocent one out. And again, the sad part about it, like I said, man, they was all clicked up at one point. But I'm gonna let my man finish his spiel here.
What they all way and shit. Niggas went left, we went right. So shit.
Hey everybody, this is our new Flippy. Real quick.
Huh. You remember you and Dolph last conversation? Or like last time I got kicked it?
Yeah, I had missed that nigga called. That nigga called me at 8. I remember that shit like it was yesterday. That nigga called me at 8 in the morning. Shoot video. Yeah, oh God, I had missed call. I sleep deep, boy. Up to me, I can sleep through a shootout, nigga. And that's bad. I need to change that shit. That shit bad. Like, I probably woke up 12 o'clock, called me, my nigga mind changed then, so it was probably a little 8 in the morning, high, come on, let's shoot this video, blah, 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 call 12 o'clock. Well, how my mind changed, so shit. Man. You know,
Man, how have you been? How have you been getting over? I'm not saying like getting over, but how have you been? You know what I'm saying, dealing with the grief of all this, like, you know what I'm saying? Your mental straight, like, you know.
Nah, it's getting straight. It ain't straight. I'm still fucked up about the whole situation. Shit, my dog. Shit. That nigga molded me. Shit. And my nigga. I still cry a lot. You know, nigga cry sometimes about this shit. Cause shit, that was my nigga. Like, this ain't, like, he came and found the nigga and nah, like, it was my nigga. Like, that was my dog. That nigga watched me grow up, shit. Like, shit, nigga, shit. I watched that nigga, shit, do his thing, shit.
Yeah.
My nigga.
Did you take it pretty hard when they was showing like the videos and shit? And like the pictures?
Hell yeah, but shit, you know, eventually the niggas gonna see that shit. So, that shit was alright. I watched that shit. Barely knew how to shoot the Drake. You know, I'm popped out of his hand, so.
Nah. If you got anything to tell these young niggas after watching the trial, you know what I'm saying, seeing how this shit went down, man, what would you tell these?
Don't be no dummy, man. Y'all stay in school, bro. Yeah, go do some shit. Y'all don't want to be no killers. That shit all fun and games till you know what I'm saying, get in front of the jury. They get to breaking out this evidence and all this shit, and you probably want to go change your plea and shit, but y'all, nobody want to be in jail, bro. When nobody telling them what to do, how to do it, and when to do it, you feel what I'm saying? Y'all gonna give up all this shit to go be up in a little city by now, a little storage on the free lights and shit. Like, you, that's what you doing. Like, you wanna go, how you wanna go live, but shit, you wanna be free. You wanna be out here smoking weed, fussing bitches, get up and go where you wanna go, eat what you wanna eat, nigga, put on what you wanna put on, nigga, and most importantly, not be around 100. Like, he came and found the nigga and nah, like, it was my nigga. Like, that was my dog. That nigga watched me grow up, shit. Like,
I had to back that up a little bit for the people in the back.
Nigga, shit, do his thing, shit.
Yeah.
My nigga.
Did you take it pretty hard when they was showing like the videos and shit? And like the pictures?
Hell yeah, but shit, you know, eventually the niggas gonna see that shit. So, that shit was alright. I watched that shit. Barely knew how to shoot the Drake. You know, I'm popped out of his hand, so.
Nah. If you got anything to tell these young niggas after watching the trial, you know what I'm saying, seeing how this shit went down, man, what would you tell these?
Don't be no dummy, man. Y'all stay in school, bro. Yeah, go do some shit. Y'all don't want to be no killers. That shit all fun and games till you know what I'm saying, get in front of the jury. They get to breaking out this evidence and all this shit, and you probably want to go change your plea and shit, but y'all, nobody want to be in jail, bro. When nobody telling them what to do, how to do it, and when to do it, you feel what I'm saying? Y'all gonna give up all this shit to go be up in a little city by now, a little storage on the free lights and shit. Like, you, that's what you doing. Like, you wanna go, how you wanna go live, but shit, you wanna be free. You wanna be out here smoking weed, fussing bitches, get up and go where you wanna go, eat what you wanna eat, nigga, put on what you wanna put on, nigga, and most importantly, not be around 100,000 niggas every day. That shit. That's what y'all niggas want. We out here free with it.
Stuck at the DMV, and I think I'm late on my car insurance.
Good thing.
In, bro, like, think about this shit. It ain't even just about murder, it's just about going to jail, period. And then, gotta move smooth, bro. You gotta have some paper dealing with that shit. Like, cause you ain't got no paper, this shit old. But couldn't no paper in the world beat that case, though.
Cause that shit was clear cut.
Like,
that shit was so clear cut.
Shit.
Now, yeah, you heard my man say it's clear cut, right? The evidence is there. We all seen it. For those of us who tuned in anyway, clear cut. So you would think some of this noise die down. And I ain't even from Memphis. But I'm gonna say this on behalf of Memphis. Pipe down. I mean, with some of these accusations, I mean, for the likes and all that, that's cool. But you got to think about, man, who might get a hold to that and be willing to crash out on some accusations. Excuse me. Let me see. But I just want to let that little brother speak for a minute. Anybody following been following the Tyre Nichols trial? It's federal, so they not gonna display it. Before we go there, though, I'm trying to see why I got this.
This is my hack for working smart. Money.com. Let me show you how I use Money.com to create a tailor-made workflow. First,
and just to be clear, you know the difference between a truth and a lie, right? Yes, sir. Okay. Now, you said you started meeting with law enforcement on December 9th. Really, the day you got picked up, the day after you got
Okay.
picked up, right, the same day. I mean, they sat down and interviewed you in a room. Yeah, I know. And did you tell them the truth? Right? Specifically, they asked you whether or not you'd ever seen that Mercedes, whether you'd been in it, right? And you said, never been in it, never seen it, never been in it with Justin Johnson. Right? Okay, just to be clear. How many times would you say you met with the state law enforcement included, right? In preparing to testify? 12 times. Okay. Does that include are you including that time back in December, right? Picked up? Okay. So 3 or 4 times since. Right? And one of the times you met with them was in March of 22. You remember meeting with them then? Sometime around then? I don't know the exact month.
Like that, I got my lawyer in March, so I don't know. I can't just pinpoint exactly what month.
Well, I'll say it like this. You started out with a different lawyer and you ended up with the lawyer you have now, right?
No, sir. No, sir. He was never hired.
Okay, well, he got paid.
This Cornelius Smith.
He didn't get paid? He didn't get $50,000?
He did not. He ain't signed my jacket saying he represented.
That's not what I'm asking you.
I just talked to him.
That's not what I'm asking you.
Right. You asked
He
me.
got $50,000.
Oh, wait a minute. Lawyer, so
Hold on just a second. Ask your question, wait for the response.
So you can't say he's leaving with his money, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, a couple other things specifically. When you, as you say it, let's kind of put a timing on this. So you said March, you got your current lawyer, and you went back and met with the government again, right? Or the state?
yeah, I don't know what month. Like I said, I can't say where like they go in.
But if I told you you met with law enforcement around March 13th of 22, does that sound about right?
I can't put the date on it. I ain't
Okay.
even counted it.
Well, let me ask you this. You said you had a change of heart and your conscience started getting to you. You wanted to tell the truth. When did that happen?
Like a couple months after I sobered all the way up, while I was in jail, I sobered all the way up. I ain't in my senses like it was wrong.
Okay. So you got December is when you go to jail. December 9th?
Yeah, December 9th.
So a couple of months from then. You sober up, that's when you come to your senses.
Yeah, and then Justin had sent me a letter saying.
Well, I'm not asking you what Justin sent you a
I'm
letter
saying what automatically made me come to my senses and like, you know, it was wrong. You know what I'm saying? When he said, cut him loose, take the juke, and quit down with me.
Okay. So you're saying Mr. Johnson sent you something saying, he actually said he didn't do it, right?
Now, he didn't say he didn't do it. He said, cut him loose and take juke and quit down with me because they ain't messing with us.
Oh, you mean tell the truth?
Nah.
Because he didn't have anything to do with it. Tell the truth.
Nah, he's saying me take the downfall.
Oh, okay.
Cut him loose. Let him go.
Okay.
And tell them to quit and him change clothes and quit with me instead of him.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Did you get it directly from Justin Johnson, this kite you're talking about?
You know, we got rock me and stuff, but we were talking through the vent. I was in E part, he was in E part. We were talking through the vent.
Did you get it directly from Justin Johnson?
Nah.
Did you see him write it?
Did I get it? He said, did you get that? Did you get that kite?
Did you see him write it?
Nah, I ain't see him right. I'm in another part. We
Right, you can't even see him.
He asked me, did I get that kite?
Okay.
He sent me more than one. He sent another one and said he got $7K. I could take that. I'll leave.
Where's that?
I don't know where is it.
You lost it?
Nah. I sent it on out to my folks.
Okay.
Sent
All
it on
right.
out to my folks, my sister.
Okay. So you started telling the truth then. So surely by August, you met with the state in August 10th of 22. Surely by then you're telling the truth.
Yeah, I'm telling the truth.
And you would agree with me, the truth doesn't change. It's the truth, right?
Yeah, it's the truth. You know, quit, brought me in and set me up for the police to capture me. So might as well tell the truth. If we gonna tell the truth.
Okay. So today, for the first time ever,
Wow. So everybody just turned on everybody now. Ain't nobody part of the squad. Now, I told you this dude was further evasive about where his money was coming from. Did he get paid? And at first when he got up there and he just started straight pointing the finger at Justin Johnson and telling everything Justin Johnson did, along with himself, because they, during the trial, they showed footage where Justin Johnson had some luggage coming out the crib, and allegedly he was supposed to have been on the run. But anyway, that's when it kind of clicked in my head. I said, maybe Cornelius Smith think that Justin Johnson got paid and he didn't get paid, or you know what I mean. Justin Johnson got that whole bag and ran off and didn't give him his half. But right now, you can see the lawyer trying to get to the bottom of this. So you did get paid because somebody paid for his lawyer. What if 50,000 come from? That's where we at. That's why I wanted to bring this portion right here. If you're sitting there wondering what this got to do with anything, but this Cornelius Smith in there, when he was telling it on Justin Johnson. But we all know you gotta follow the money, right? And that's what this lawyer doing right now. But we gonna keep it moving down.
You testified that you wiped that Mercedes down.
Yeah.
You've never said that before.
No, I ain't know.
You never told them. You never told them that you wiped that Mercedes down?
I never told detectives when I talked to them. Nah.
Why would you not tell them? They've asked you every question under the sun about this case, right?
I said detectives. I never admitted that I was involved to detectives when I first got locked up December the 9th.
You know they take notes and they recorded your entire interview.
Right.
From August.
Right.
Why didn't you tell them in August you wiped the car down?
We were talking about so much, it slipped my mind from me.
And they specifically asked you, and you said,
They ain't asked me to get away from cutting. They ain't specifically asked me
you don't recall them asking you and you saying, Justin said he had someone wipe the car down.
Yeah, he told me he had somebody to wipe the car down too.
But you didn't think to ask him, right?
I told him that I wiped it down. He said you used the right stuff because I got somebody else to wipe it down. You know what I'm saying?
So now you're saying you told Justin that you went and wiped it down.
Yeah, I told him too.
Why didn't
Hey, check this out. I ain't peeped this at first. Now, they call it ratting and snitching these days. But we used to talk about how you get in there and start singing, right? My man in there, he's singing in a higher octave right now. Check him out. He said, we wiped it down too. Let's go.
Can you tell that to law enforcement who's seeking the truth from you, right?
You know, stuff slip a person's mind too. You know what I'm saying? Like
Kind of an important detail.
Like they ain't asked me did I work the car down, so
You don't think so?
I don't recall.
Okay. Well, your fingerprints are on that car,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So when did you go do that?
Like a couple days after the shooting.
Did you tell Quet? Did you go by Quet's house?
Yeah, I had called quick and told him that I was finna walk in their backyard so he'll know who walking over there. I ain't called him.
So you called him, you let him know. You walked through his backyard.
Not through his backyard. That I was finna walk in the backyard where the car was in.
Okay. Why would you need to tell Quet you were going to be at the car across the street?
Because he got cameras. So I ain't want him to think nobody trying to get him enough to get shooting at me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, let him know what's up.
And just to be clear, does he have cameras on the abandoned house, or are you just saying shooting out from facing out from his house? Okay. But testimony today is you called Quet and told him you were going to go over there and wipe that car down. Okay.
Wait a minute. I ain't gonna keep on stopping it, but yeah, do y'all heard how dumb this crime was? Man, if not, let me break it down a little. Let me go a little deeper with this. The two dudes, the two shooters, right? They didn't even know each other. Can you believe that? Now, the car that they talking about is parked across the street from the alleged mastermind of the unaliving of Young Dolph. I ain't making it up. I ain't making it up just. I, see, you might be missing that part. I just wanted, get a little detail if you just tuning in on this. And I just thought about, how crazy this is and this whole crime was just off impulse. Somebody threw the bait out there and they bit, trying to get a bag. Ain't that serious, man? That you never did get your hands on. Because they got their hands on you first. Allegedly, you got paid. It's said that your lawyer was paid $50,000. I can't remember if we got to the if they said if not Cornelius, Justin Johnson got paid though. Anyway, man, let's move on.
And you didn't tell law enforcement that either. Does that surprise you that you wouldn't have told them, hey, I even called Quet and told them I was going to go over and do it?
Nah, because, like I say, stuff slip a person mind at the time, you know what I'm saying? Like, when law enforcement talking to me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't just finna remember everything bit for bit right then and there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you had 3 or 4 times, as you said it, right? To meet with them, to go over it, to think about it. You were able to talk with counsel before you went into this. You were able to look at paperwork before you went in, right?
Before I went in with.
And met with them.
Yeah, what you mean though? What you saying? Like, what you saying?
It just slipped your mind.
Nah, what you saying? Like,
no,
what slipped my mind? What you saying?
To tell them all the details.
Yeah, I couldn't just remember detail like that.
Because it's hard to keep up with details when you're lying. You would agree with that, right?
Nah.
No?
Nah, when you tell the truth, like, and you're nervous, like, it's hard to keep up with details.
So, you're saying that one just slipped your mind? Okay. You didn't bring it up. They didn't ask you. You just slipped your mind. Okay.
I answered the questions they asked me correctly. You know, like if they ain't asked me.
This.
If I don't recall them asking me, I ain't answering.
So, law enforcement specifically asked you about this $800 that you got after the shooting, right?
Right.
And today, I just want to make clear, you're saying that
listen, follow the money.
$500 was hand delivered by Justin with a letter to your neighbor.
Right.
And her name, just to be clear, is Vivian Fifi, right?
Correct.
Lives next door to your dad.
Correct.
And you know that happened, correct?
Correct.
You say you were on the phone with Justin and Miss Fifi when that was happening.
Correct.
And to confirm that Miss Fifi actually got the money.
Correct.
Okay? Now, but you would agree with me that's not the story you first told law enforcement, right?
I don't recall.
You don't recall?
I can't say it's correct in that because I don't know what I told them, like, when I first talked to him.
But is that the
I can't
truth?
recall the interview that I had with them back then, so I can't say it's correct or it's not.
Okay. Well, did you tell him that you told him the truth, right?
Yeah, I told him the truth.
All right. So, in that same interview, if that's the truth with Miss Fifi, in that same interview earlier, why would you tell them that some masked man came in a Chrysler 300 on 2 occasions
No, I
and
did
said,
not say that.
You didn't say that.
I didn't say that earlier. I did not say that. That a madman on 2 occasions came.
You didn't say that.
Justin dropped it off to Miss Fifi the first time, and he had somebody with a mask on the second time with $300. That's what I said.
So, if that interview recording's got your voice saying that you and Angela backed up in the driveway next door and on 2 separate occasions, the first time somebody brought $500 and your girlfriend Angela got out and got it and you stayed in the car, and then on another occasion, which is what you said today, somebody bought $300 and Angela got out and got it. You're saying that's just not it. Like, you didn't say that. Somebody else jumped in your interview that was recorded and said those things.
Yeah, I don't remember saying all that. I can't recall the interview. Like, I got to hear it. But we just say, yeah, you know, I see it, yeah, I got to hear the interview.
Okay. But if you were telling the truth, you wouldn't have any trouble, right? Going, did I say that or not? Because you know you didn't say it because you told the truth.
I'm telling the truth. I'm telling
This time or that time?
I be telling the truth all the time, all along.
Okay.
Since it's after, might as well tell the truth.
A couple of things. You had only two conversations. Well, let me back up. You had one conversation at Quet's house where Jook was there, correct?
Correct.
Justin wasn't there.
Nah, he won't know.
And then you said you had an earlier conversation with just you and Quet about the dog.
Justin wasn't there. I just think, well, you know, it's still crazy, man, because the dude was masked up. We still, well, nah, he still had them same clothes on. The badge hat, which he wore for like 3 days before this even happened. And immediately after it happened, that's when he changed that outfit. Let me see something here.
The power to tell a story is in us all.
Nah, that ain't. Anyway, so like I asked earlier, uh, anybody been following the Tyre Nichols case? Like, I know you can't, you haven't been able to view it, or if you're in the city, you might be in the courtroom. Anybody out there in the courtroom? Any updates on it other than what we got here? see.
January 7th,
They
2023.
didn't.
29-year-old Tyre Nichols was 2 minutes away from his home in Hickory Hill when he was stopped by Memphis police officers with the now disbanded Scorpion unit. After the traffic stop near Ross and Rains Road, Tyre was pulled from the vehicle before running. Officers eventually caught up with Tyre blocks away, which is where prosecutors say he was beaten. He was taken to St. Francis in critical condition. He died in the hospital 3 days later.
My son was a great, great kid. He didn't deserve what he got. Now what he deserves is justice.
At the end of January 2023, the city of Memphis released graphic body cam and sky cop footage that showed Nichols being beaten and crying out for his mother as he tried to run away. We are not showing the entire video because of its nature and out of respect for Nichols' family. Tyre's death sparked nationwide protests against police brutality.
Tyre Nichols! Say his name! Tyre Nichols! Y'all are murdering people! Yes, ma'am. Trying to go home. Tyre was just trying to go home.
6 MPD officers and 3 EMTs with the Memphis Fire Department were fired for their involvement in the death of Nichols. In late January 2023, Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Justin Smith, Emmett Martin, and Desmond Mills were all charged with second-degree murder. 3 months later, Nichols' mother, Rovon Wells, filed a $550 million federal lawsuit accusing Police Chief C.J. Davis of turning a blind eye to excessive force used by the Scorpion unit.
This is something that I'm going to have to deal with for the rest of my life, that I will not have my son. But if my son had to leave this earth in this manner, I'm hoping it was for the greater good.
In April 2023, the Memphis City Council unanimously passed a police reform ordinance banning minor traffic stops like what was used to pull over Nichols. It was later undone by a controversial state law. In August 2023, Shelby County DA Steve Mulroy dropped 30 to 40 cases worked by the 5 former officers. 1 month later, they were federally indicted on 4 felonies, including 2 civil rights violations. Bean, Haley, and Justin Smith pleaded not guilty. Their trial date was originally set for May 6, 2024, but was pushed back to September after months of back and forth about what evidence will be used and who will testify on the stand. Plus, there were several denied motions, like the ones to dismiss the case, to change venues, and to give each former officer their own separate trial.
We want full justice.
There's a responsibility when an officer takes that oath. Somebody must supervise them. And when the orders come from the top that there might be unconstitutional policing, then you got to fix it.
Mills pleaded guilty in November 2023, and Martin changed his plea to guilty a few weeks ago. Prosecutors recommend 15 years in prison for Mills and 40 years for Martin.
I want to buy your house.
Good afternoon, Mr. Smith.
Good afternoon.
My name is Luke Evans. I represent Mr. John.
January 7th.
We got more up-to-date information than that. You know how we got that. Salute squad, hit the like button for me. We got some more up-to-date info on old Tyre Nichols here. I thought that's what it was, but evidently not. We live though. What happened when you live? Oh, this is where I want to go.
Violation of civil rights and the obstruction of justice trial that you put to Darius Willie. Justice guilty verdict. Junkie theory.
We had the verdicts come in. If you don't know, I'm gonna go on and spoil it. Them boys was hauled off immediately after they was found guilty. They was taken into custody. But listen, I want y'all to hear what they gave them, though. The family felt like justice was due. But man, with that footage that we seen, man, you know, if you get caught beating a dog like that, you probably gonna get more years. Then the sad part about it, at the end of the day, y'all unalived them. And these was supposed to have been law enforcement. We all know it ain't new. It ain't just started happening.
Here coming up in just a moment, we've got Fox 13's Kayla Solomon there live inside the courtroom. She's the one listening to all this. And as far as Bean goes, I mean, it was the defense who laid out a pretty compelling case that Officer Bean was not compliant with a lot of this, even though he did fall under the obstruction of justice guilty verdict. John Keith Perry talking on behalf of Tadarius Bean, the testimony of the former Scorpion Unit officer, most referred to him as quiet, and that Bean was the newest member of the team.
Okay. We are now learning the other former Memphis police officer, Demetrius Haley, has been found guilty on count 3 and 4. Count 3 is conspiracy to witness tamper. Count 4 is obstruction of justice. Again, Demetrius Haley found guilty on 2 counts, 3 and 4, conspiracy to witness tamper and obstruction of justice, which means that he was found not guilty at this point on excessive force and failure to intervene and deliberate indifference. So at this point, we are still waiting on the third suspect, which at this point is Justin Smith.
Justin Smith. So again, to repeat, guilty on obstruction of justice, guilty on the conspiracy to obstruct justice. Of course, that conspiracy charge kind of creates a larger umbrella. That means that the officers conspired with each other in this case to talk about the case on the scene, and a lot of that played out on body cam video. You saw that. You saw those officers talking to each other and seeming, look, we're not litigating this case here on the air, but they seem to begin constructing their own narrative as opposed to exactly what was played out there on the videotape, that body cam and the tower cam of the beating of Tyre Nichols. Of course, that beating happened back on January 7th. It was a Saturday night in 2023.
We're also learning that Demetrius Haley, again, we said he was guilty on the 2 counts, conspiracy to witness tamper and obstruction of justice, which was count 4. But we're learning that he was found guilty of 2 lesser charges, deprivation of rights and bodily injury. Again, we're still waiting on anything that's coming down for Justin Smith. He is the other suspect involved in this.
And we just got word just a second ago, Justin Smith, guilty only of count 4, obstruction of justice, meaning the civil rights violations, the unreasonable force use and deliberate indifference, not guilty on that charge, as well as not guilty on conspiracy charges. So Justin Smith, former officer Justin Smith, found guilty only on count 4, the obstruction of justice charge.
Again, this whole thing started with 5 former Memphis police officers, Emmett Martin, Desmond Mills, Justin Smith, Tadarius Bean, and Demetrius Haley. We know that Emmett Martin and Desmond Mills, they pleaded guilty early on this year, in fact.
They did, and they actually were quite detrimental to the defense in this case because they in turn testified on behalf of the prosecution against Bean, Haley, and Smith. Of course, this is wrapping up almost 4 full weeks in the courtroom for those jurors, of course, for Judge Mark Norris, who's presided over this, and the attorneys, 3 sets of defense attorneys, and of course the prosecution on behalf of the Department of Justice. Interesting to say the least, these verdicts that are coming down. I dare say this is not exactly what we expected.
It's definitely not what we expected based on the video that MPD released. I believe that was at the end of January where they actually released the video.
It was very shortly after the beating.
Right. Based on the video, many people felt that the actions of the officers were very excessive. But clearly what happened in court today, the jury determined something different.
Well, and again, we saw this. You've seen this play out time and time again. It's been available online, and of course, we brought it to you first here, Fox 13, when it was first released. You've seen it. You've been able to pass your own judgment. Part of this goes out to the fact that they brought in force or use of force experts, and many of those, many of the parts of the testimony by that use of force expert pointed to the fact that they did seem to be compliant in some ways
with policy.
With policy, and that's where, you know, if you go back shortly after the Tyre Nichols beating and after his death, there were many calls for a complete investigation. Matter of fact, there has been a complete investigation into the Memphis Police Department, the Scorpion Unit, that all 5 members of that particular team were members of the Scorpion Unit. That has since been disbanded. That's now no longer part of the arsenal, if you will, of the MPD. So a lot has happened since January 7th of 2023. But again, so far, only obstruction of justice and conspiracy to obstruct justice charges against these individuals. Of course, we don't know the sentencing yet.
Right.
That's yet to happen. That's going to be handed down by Judge Mark Norris, I believe.
That we're waiting at this point.
There we go. Here are the maximum penalties. That's what we were going to go to there. For the unreasonable force, the deliberate indifference, life in prison was possible. Now, again, just because the life in prison sentences are off the table here, that does not mean that these officers are not facing significant prison time. Because as you see on the screen, the conspiracy to obstruct justice carries a maximum of 20 years. The obstruction charge itself also carries a maximum of 20 years. It'll be interesting on the 2 that were found on Bean and Haley. Both of those were found guilty on both of those bottom counts. If those particular sentences will be run concurrent or if they will be separate sentences. If so, that could be up to 40 years for each officer as a maximum.
Mind you, this is the state case. This is the federal case. They're still facing state charges as well, which I believe is second-degree murder for that.
Right.
So there's still some other charges that they're facing that's coming down the pipeline here.
Yeah, that state trial is set to begin sometime early next year. They wanted to wait until this federal trial wrapped up and give the defense attorneys and, of course, the prosecution on behalf of Shelby County time to vet all of the outcome of this, get this tidied away, and then move into that state court. Right after that, you'll see the third civil trial. And that third civil trial will not begin until sometime. They're predicting sometime early next year. That will be after the state trial as well. That's where the family of Tyre Nichols is seeking $550 million in damages against not only the city of Memphis, but also other individuals named in that case, including the 5 officers.
Again, we're talking about 3 officers tonight: Justin Smith, Tadarius Bean, and Demetrius Haley. We know that Emmett Martin and Desmond Mills, they have already pled guilty. But these are the other 3 officers that are tied to the Tyre Nichols beating. Just for clarification for you tonight, Tadarius Bean, guilty on count 4, which was obstruction of justice. Demetrius Haley, guilty on counts 3 and 4, which is still obstruction of justice, but witness tampering was tied in that as well. Haley was also found guilty of 2 lesser charges, including deprivation of rights and bodily injury. The last suspect was Justin Smith, found guilty on count 4, again, obstruction of justice. And we noted that that could be up to 20 years in prison for that.
20 years for both of those counts, in fact. Civil rights violations, the unreasonable force violations, the deliberate indifference charges. found not guilty. All three officers found not guilty on all of those charges. So again, life in prison regarding the federal case off the table for all three. It's going to be a minute. I'm not exactly sure the timetable. We've got reporters in the newsroom, or not in the newsroom, but in the courtroom, I should say, that should be able to give us a little more information on exactly how long it's going to take before we see sentencing in this particular trial.
Mind you, all of this started on January 7th of 2023. It started that evening, in fact, where Tyre Nichols was pulled over. I believe it was in Hickory Hill.
It was.
And everything ensued.
Rains and Ross Road.
Yes, and he was only a block or two away from his home.
And only a block or two from the Rains MPD station. Precinct. All right, let's go to Fox 13's Kayla Solomon. She has been covering this case since day one. Again, we're wrapping up almost 4 full weeks in a federal courtroom. Kayla, what can you tell us?
If you get injured in an accident, even as just a passenger,
well, I'll tell you one thing, that this verdict came down much sooner than we were all expecting. It took about 6 hours for the jury to reach the verdict. And I know Darcy and Daryl, you guys have been saying what those charges are, but all 3 defendants were found guilty of the conspiracy obstruction of justice charge, that count 4, and not guilty of the other charges instead. Now, we do know that one defendant, Demetrius Haley, was found guilty of both obstruction charges and the lesser charges when it comes to the unreasonable force. So at this point, what we're waiting for is to see exactly how the family is going to react, how the defense attorneys are going to react, and the prosecutors in this case. It has been a very long trial, almost exactly 4 weeks. It took 19 days to get to the point that we are at now. So at this point, we're waiting any moment for the family to come down, for those defense attorneys and prosecutors to come down. We do know that while the verdict was being read, the family was stoic in the courtroom. They did not have a reaction. They kept a straight face throughout this entire thing. And they've done the same throughout the entire trial, just as someone making observations within the courtroom. But again, these 3 defendants are guilty of the obstruction of justice charge, not guilty as charged for unreasonable force. But Demetrius Haley is guilty of lesser charges of causing bodily injury. So again, at this point, just waiting for the family and everyone else to come outside.
Kayla, I don't want to put words in your mouth here, but I would think that the prosecution has to be a little taken aback by this, given the case they laid out, plus the video that we've seen so many times, time and time again. But also, we can't get lost in the fact that these 2 charges, the obstruction of justice and the conspiracy to obstruct justice, those still carry significant prison time. So these officers are not getting off free.
Yeah, that's right. It's up to 20 years for each of those charges. But while the verdict was being read, you could see the look of surprise on the prosecutor's face, probably a little bit of disappointment as well. We did see one prosecutor, his face turned red while the verdict was being read by the judge. And he went through juror by juror and polled them to make sure that this was, in fact, a unanimous decision. And all of their answers were yes.
Kayla, curious. We have seen the video and the extent of it. We've also seen all of the pictures of Tyre Nichols while he was in the hospital. I believe that the defense made it very clear that these officers felt as if Tyre Nichols was a dangerous suspect, as if he was trying to get away, as if he was being combative. Did any of that play with the jury? Did you see anything on their faces that would make them think, well, maybe?
I know it was difficult at some point for jurors to watch the videos. We did see, just from where we were sitting, that one of the jurors ended up covering his ears, especially in parts of the video where you could hear Tyre calling for his mother on that body camera video. So you could see some of them did have reactions to the videos. But again, at this point, it looks like it didn't affect their decision much.
Okay, that is Fox 13's Kayla Solomon. She has been there again from the beginning of this court case. All of this started, of course, January 7th of last year. Kayla has been on this case since it first started. She's been in the courtroom, in fact, for the last 19 days on this case.
Kayla, do you expect the Nichols family to come out? Do you know if they're going to talk to the media? Have they made themselves available today, or do you know?
Yeah, I know this morning they did do a prayer circle, but they didn't indicate whether or not they were planning to speak after a verdict. So at this point, like I said, we're just waiting for them to come down and see if we can get them to comment at all on this case. I know their attorney, Ben Crump, we have not seen him today. We also haven't seen Antonio Romanucci, so their team of attorneys is not here, but we do know the family is here and they were in the courtroom.
Very good. Again, Kayla, stand by. We'll be joining you again in a moment. Here we are, 10 minutes, almost 11 minutes after 5 o'clock. Keep in mind the jury was handed this case, as Kayla pointed out, just before 11 a.m. It took them almost a couple of hours this morning for Judge Mark Norris to read instructions to the jury, because there's a long procedural process in reading those instructions. It's not just go deliberate. So that happened. They were able to get the case, went back into the room, deliberated from 11 until about 4:15. That's when we found out that they had a verdict in this case. And typically, as Darcy and I were discussing, we were discussing in the newsroom earlier, typically the more quickly you get a verdict read,
You think that it's going to be.
the worse it is for the defendants. But here we are 5 hours in, and to reset the charges, to reset the verdict, I should say, in the death of Tyre Nichols. Again, this is the federal trial. This is not the murder trial. This is in the violation of civil rights and the obstruction of justice trial, if you will. To Darius Bean, former officer, deliberate indifference, not guilty. Conspiracy to obstruct, not guilty. Obstruction of justice, guilty. That carries a 20-year term.
We also have Demetrius Haley. Unreasonable force, guilty. Deprivation of rights, guilty. Conspiracy to obstruct, guilty. And obstruction of justice, guilty. The conspiracy to obstruct and obstruction of justice. Those are the two charges that are 20 years, that he could face 20 years in prison. The lesser charges, unreasonable force and deprivation of rights. Again, both found guilty on those.
And of course, there were some reduced charges as well for Justin Smith. As we roll to his graphic, unreasonable force, not guilty. Deliberate indifference, also not guilty. Conspiracy to obstruct, not guilty. Obstruction of justice, guilty. And what were the other charges, Darcy?
The two charges for Demetrius Haley, the lesser charges, deprivation of rights.
That was Haley.
But also causing bodily harm.
Gotcha.
He's found guilty on those two charges, the lesser charges as well.
So that's where we stand. You just heard Fox 13's Kayla Solomon, who's been in the courtroom since the very beginning, since they began selecting a jury, describe the faces of the defense attorneys, the prosecution, the federal prosecutors. One seemed angry, the other shocked. And I think that I think that there are a lot of people who are going to be shocked at the way this played out. But after 4 weeks, here we are.
Yeah. We're also wondering when they're going to be sentenced. That's one of the things people have been talking about. We're going to toss it back to Fox 13's Kayla Solomon, who joins us. She has been at federal court for the last 19 days. She has been in front of this case, and she brings us more. Kayla, we're trying to find out, do you finally have a sentencing date?
Yes, we do know the sentencing date was set for January of next year. So we know in that time that they will be out just waiting to be sentenced. And that state case is still slated to happen in February. And of course, that state case has to do with a second-degree murder charge. So at this point, we know the sentencing will happen just a few weeks before that state case is set to start.
So that could be at some point in February, if not some point in January, where the state case, where the sentencing will happen for these federal charges.
Kayla, if you would, again, given the fact that you have been there since day one, you've covered this story since day one, January 7, 2023. And I know it's all still very fresh on your mind. I would like to just get your general impressions of, more specifically, this past week, closing arguments that led us up to this point today. What were your impressions? What were you left with as the jury began their deliberations?
I'll tell you what, we were watching the jurors' faces as closing arguments were happening just to see if anybody had any strong reactions or any reaction at all. And they were difficult to read. They did not give a reaction to any of the defense attorney's arguments, nor did they give any reaction to what prosecutors had to say. But we did hear, of course, each defense attorney had the opportunity to plead their final case to the jury for this. And the jury, like I said, they've also been straight-faced, but they were instructed to be pretty stoic the entire case. They didn't want to see any reaction. The judge instructed them that any strong reactions could be a problem. And he said the same thing to everyone in the gallery as far as the family members go, as far as community activists who also showed up to attend the trial. Everyone across the board, difficult to read throughout this entire court case, and we finally see today it led all up to this verdict.
I know that the three defendants, none of them have spoken to the media at all. We're talking about Justin Smith, Darius Bean, and of course Demetrius Haley. But I'm curious if they had a reaction, especially to the count 4 of obstruction of justice, knowing that that's possibly 20 years behind bars. Did they react at all? Because we also know, Kayla, that I believe that Desmond Mills broke down on the stand. So how did these other three defendants react?
Yeah, at this point, you couldn't see much of a reaction from them either. It's probably likely they were also told not to give much of a reaction by each of their attorneys, but you could see attorneys were feeling a little relieved as the verdict was read. And of course, in this case where you have the charge of unreasonable force and then the lesser charge of bodily injury, you know, we did see what happened in that case, especially with defendant Haley. At this point, we want to see what defendant Haley's attorney has to say specifically, because he was found guilty of those 2 lesser charges of causing bodily harm, as well as the 2 obstruction of justice charges. So right now it looks like he's going to be facing the most prison time in this case.
One of the interesting facets of this case, too, Kayla, are the 2 defendants that pled guilty, those 2 other officers, Emmett Martin, Desmond Mills. I mean, there's already been recommendations laid out that Martin should face 40 years in prison, Mills 15 years through the guilty plea. How do you think that's going to play out? I mean, they've yet to be sentenced. I'm assuming that they will be sentenced with this group of 3. Is that correct?
Josh Hawley isn't content with just being our senator. He wants to be in every part of Missourians' lives, in the doctor's office, banning
No, so each of them actually has a different sentencing date. So Mills pleaded guilty first. He pleaded guilty just 2 months after these federal charges came down, and he pleaded guilty to 2 of the charges, one for unreasonable force for using his baton and the other for the obstruction of justice and conspiracy. And the recommended time for him was about 15 years. And Emmett Martin pleaded guilty just weeks before this trial began, also to 2 of the charges as charged. And his recommendation set by the prosecution was about a 40-year prison sentence. So it'll be interesting to see how much the judge takes into account their testimony, as well as what those recommended sentences will have to do when it comes to sentencing the 3 that did go to trial.
Again, a very interesting facet of this case. 2 of the 5 pled guilty, and looks like they're all going to face about the same amount of time in prison after all. You would think that the guilty pleas and the idea to cooperate with the prosecution would buy you much less time than the defendants in a case like this, but this time it did not.
And they're still facing state charges.
There's state charges left to go, second-degree murder charges. I mean, the second-degree murder charge itself, if they're found guilty of that, you're looking at 60 years in prison as a maximum. So there's still as my father used to say, there's many a slip between the cup and the lip. There's a long way to go before all of this is actually prosecuted and taken out to the fullest extent of the law. You know what, let's take a look at the jury breakdown again. 12 people on the jury. There were 2 alternates in this case, and this was the breakdown: 4 white men, 3 white women, 4 black women, 2 black men, 1 black man, 1 Asian as alternates. So the racial and gender makeup of the jury seems it was agreed upon very quickly. They actually sat this jury much more quickly than they thought they might.
They did.
If you remember,
we thought it was going to take some time because they had so many jurors to choose from, but it took just a few days, and they had them all seated.
They had a pool of over 200, and in about a day and a half, they went through the voir dire process and had a jury seated and began this trial pretty judiciously.
We all thought that all of the jurors were going to come from Shelby County, but they did not. They came from Lauderdale County, Tipton County, some from Shelby County, but also some from Fayette County as well. So a wide variety of jurors that they had a chance to choose from.
Well, defense attorneys had pressed time and time again to have this case moved. They wanted the federal case moved simply because of the media attention. They pled the case that they could not get a fair trial in Memphis because of the media attention, and that was shot down very, very quickly.
Judge said no.
So again, let's recap one more time as we're now 20 minutes into this broadcast, and we have a verdict. We have 3 verdicts, if you will, in the civil trial. The federal trial in the death of Tyre Nichols. So we're being told to hold on one second.
It looks like family is coming out.
Let's go there live. Let's listen in.
have been convicted of something, and they're all going to jail. That's how I feel. This has been a long journey for our family. I'm actually in shock right now because I still can't believe all this stuff is going on. But we're happy that they all have been convicted and they have been arrested.
And that's very important that the jury found all of them in some way participated in a crime and that Tyre Nichols' death won't go unaccounted for. That is critical. We know that this is the federal case. It's different from the state case, but in the federal court, all 5 of them, 2 pled guilty, 3 of them have been found guilty of charges, and they all, as the judge articulated, have been taken into custody. So the family was very relieved that the killers of Tyre Nichols have been taken into custody and have been found guilty. Now you will hear from Attorney Tony Romanucci before any of the other family members may speak.
Thank you, everybody. Today was monumentous because you had 2 defendants who pled guilty to deprivation of rights under color of law. They testified in this courtroom. The remaining defendants have all been found guilty of 1 charge or more: obstruction, conspiracy, deprivation of rights causing bodily injury. This is justice for Tyre. This is a very high burden that this government had in order to prove 12 counts against all of these individuals, and they proved more than half of them.
That's right.
So we are grateful to the federal government. We're grateful to the jury for paying attention, His Honor for a clean trial, and now we look forward to justice. We look forward to the state case, the civil case, because what we know is these officers conspired.
That's right.
They made an agreement.
That's right.
They made an agreement to cause harm, and now they are in jail. They are.
Amen.
Mr. Rodney,
you're going to hear from Mr. Wells in just a minute. It's very important that we thank Kristen Clark and the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice for bringing these charges and zealously prosecuting this case. Now you will hear from Mr. Rodney Wells, the father of Tyre Nichols.
I just want to say for the family that we are all elated. We're all very, very happy that these guys have been put in jail. This is a long time coming. Yes. And justice for Tyre. So we're just so very proud that all of them are going to jail today. Yes. We cannot wait on the sentencing, so we'll know what their total time will be. But today was a very good day for our family.
Yes. And now you will hear from Judge Ernestine Doris, who will make a statement for you hear from his uncle.
Today is a day that we, in fact, got justice for Tyre, and I'd just like to thank the government for their work in getting this done and their diligence and the way that this matter was held and handled before the court so that we know that, notwithstanding anything that we think, there is justice.
Yes. Yes. It is very important to note that all of them were pointing the fingers at each other. So all of them said that the others had something to do with the death of Tyre Nichols. That is very important, especially as we go forward to the other cases, whether it be the state criminal charge, but especially the civil case, the wrongful death civil rights violation, because the violation of Tyre Nichols' civil rights led to his death. And the blood is on the hand of the Memphis Police Department. That's right. And we're thankful to the jury for this first step of justice. Now you will hear from his Uncle Johnny.
Well, I'm going to say justice for Tyre Nichols. Justice for Young Dolph. Appreciate y'all rocking with me over here tonight at Fly High Productions. I am Mr. Follow Up. Salute. I'm out. Squad up.